Postgame show, Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. It's a Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Shaw's and Star Market make shopping, ordering online, and saving easier than ever. Download the Shaw's Deals and Delivery app or the Star Market Deals and Delivery app today. A lot to get to on this postgame show after a brutal second half. Press conference is powered by Oakers Technologies. Our coach knows a winning playbook is the key to success. And when it comes to your company's technology, the Oakers playbook has been unstoppable for over 100 years. So get future ready with Oakers, proud partner of your New England Patriots. And here is your New England Patriots head coach, Mike Vrabel, after the loss.
That didn't quite happen.
Nope. We just didn't do enough in the second half. Give them credit, and we certainly didn't do enough. We were too many missed opportunities, too many penalties, things, the turnover and things that just, again, just didn't take advantage of bad football, and then we're able to, have bad football ourselves. So, we have to. We're never going to accept winning. We have to embrace moving on, and we have to do that quickly and get these things fixed and go on the road in a division opponent.
Mike, I guess how surprised were you by that second half, and what do you learn from it that you can take it to next week?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by anything. I'm surprised that, I just want to see. Now we'll see where we're at. We'll see what kind of football team we have, what kind of leaders we have, to be able to come back in here and get to work. And I think that'll be the true test. We always talk about culture and everything else, and we'll see where we're at as a culture and as a team, and if we have guys that want to work and stick together, it'll be a big challenge to do that.
How would you assess Will Campbell's performance in his NFL debut?
I think that's tough right now, Nicole. I apologize. I got to look at the tape. I just, again, I'm sure there's going to be some good plays, some plays we'd like to have back that he would like to have back. I think that would go for pretty much everybody. And I think that there was some good football, just certainly not consistent enough in all three phases. And that's kind of what it looked like for me, and I'll try to give you a little better answer after looking at the tape.
Mike, I know it's hard to match with them given Genty and Bowers, but they seem to be running pretty well when you guys went three-corner, and then obviously throw on you a little bit late when you went base. Can you just talk about the thought process?
Well, just trying to mix it up. They really, we didn't think that the run game had hurt us, and then they picked us a couple times, and they hit a couple long ones, and they hit some X plays, which we talked about that being a key. So, we'll get back together, and I thought we settled down really well defensively. I thought the first drive was, not our best, and then I thought we settled down. I thought they played well. I thought they played hard. We just, weren't able to make enough there in the end. And again, I made a decision, on 4th and 10 with, close to 5 minutes to punt, and would like a better punt, and we had them stopped, and that was the plan, and that didn't work. And then they hit one, and we just didn't have enough time there at the end to do anything. That was the decision, that I thought was best for us at the time, and that didn't work out. But situationally, we'll have to continue to improve. We moved the ball, we made the kick, we tried the onside. So again, it's just you can't get down 2 scores late in the game.
Over here, Mike. After Andy's kick in the first half, the team went nearly 2 quarters without getting the scoreboard again. Did the Raiders do anything different on defense? And what did you see?
They mixed in some pressure and a little bit of mixed coverage, and but again, give them credit, and we'll have to come back, and we'll have to be better and more balanced and be able to run the football without making it 1st and 20. We overcame some of those, but just too difficult. And but again, it's a start, not the one that we wanted, and we got a long way to go, and we're going to be resolved to get it fixed, and the people that are here are going to be committed to getting it fixed together.
Coach, you mentioned the expert Raiders offense. I was wondering what, from your perspective, led to some of those plays and things you can improve moving forward.
Well, man, just knowing, understanding the coverage, understanding, eyes, and I think it all goes into sometimes the call, and they had a good call for what we had on, or a guy made a play. When you look at X plays in general, it's offensively you scheme them up about 35% of the time, and about 65% of the time somebody makes a play. And so I would say that the same would go defensively. That sometimes we're not in the best call and they scheme us up, and then other times somebody makes a play, and just like we were able to get our hand on a football, they go 13 personnel, and we were pretty adamant that they were going to throw, and they tried to hit 89. We tipped it, and we made a play. But we just have to have more of those, and we have to create some more turnovers.
Hey, Mike, I don't know if this falls in the same category as Nicole's question, but how would you assess Drake's performance? Looked like there were some struggles under pressure in this game.
Again, without looking at the tape, I thought there were some good positive plays and really good command of what we were doing. And then there were times where maybe he missed somebody, and we'll have to see. And it's a challenge playing quarterback in this league, and we got to help them out. We have to be more balanced. We have to use our run actions and be able to run the football. It's hard to turn it into a drop back passing game in this league. I mean that's just the facts. And then when they're up 2 scores and they're in their third down package, and that we just don't want to ever live in that world. So we all can be better, and whether that's me and the coaching staff and Drake and Will and everybody that you asked about. Like that's the attitude that we're going to take. That's the belief that we're going to take. We're disappointed, but we can't sit there and hold on to it too long. We got to go on the road, and we got to play a division opponent, and we got to embrace moving on. And I think that's what we're going to try to do. So thank you.
All right, that was Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel after the 20-13 loss. That wasn't really even that close, or at least it didn't feel that way in the second half, Joe. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray here on the Patriots Postgame Show. The Shaws and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. And I'm going to tell you right now, Joe, it was all about the quarterback to me. I thought Drake May was terrible in this game by and large. Did they do some good things at times? Yes. It wasn't just Drake May, but in this league, at this time, it's about the quarterback. And to watch Geno Smith for the second straight year come into Foxborough and into Gillette Stadium and basically put on a clinic and severely outplay his counterpart, this time being Drake May, disgusted me. And Drake May just could not keep pace with Geno Smith. And Geno Smith made plays Drake May could not make, and that was the biggest story of the – there's a lot of storylines. There are a lot of things that could have been better. There are a lot of things that went very wrong, okay? But I thought ultimately it was about Drake May, and he did not play well enough, and Geno Smith just made more plays than Drake May. That was the story, the beginning at least, if not the beginning and the end.
Yeah, I don't think this loss had anything to do with the rosters or the talent or anything, or really maybe even coaching. There's a few coaching things I did want to get into, but Drake May once again had the early jitters in this game. Was sailing a couple of balls, had to delay a game at one point, and then late in the game on a 4th down play, didn't get the calls out right, and Will Campbell had the false start. Speaking of Will Campbell and the line, they weren't bad. They got no push. I didn't love the play calls. They could have run the ball a lot better today. The fact that they had 60 yards on the ground, not good enough considering that they're a running team. And just finally, Mike Vrabel talked a lot about urgency in the preseason. When it's 4th and 10 and there's 4 minutes left in the game and you're down 10 points, you go for it. You don't punt. So I know we can sit here all day and get on Drake May and sailing balls, and this is why I go back to Josh McDaniels being here. He's having him do too much. There were plenty of opportunities today where he looked good, but at the same time, I think he's got too much on his plate, and that's why he's making the mistakes.
Maybe that's part of it. You're a little hotter about what he has on his plate than I am, but It might have been part of it today. Okay?
Happened in big moments, especially in the second half.
Drake May looked nervous. He was inaccurate. He looked, I didn't think he managed the pocket well. I thought he ran very conservatively. I thought that was the worst I'd ever seen him run. When he took off with the ball, he looked timid. I understand he's trying to absorb the whole thing about sliding and not getting hurt and not taking a hit. He looked timid. He didn't look like he was comfortable in the pocket. I didn't feel like his pocket presence was there. Some of the inexplicably inaccurate throws. When he had time, when guys were wide open, I know it was wet. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, okay? And it just felt like maybe that was part of it. He was thinking too much. There's too much on his plate. Okay. I did like in that middle of the first half-ish time frame, they were running an NFL offense. That's what it looked like to me. The problem was the playmaking dried up. They couldn't make plays anymore. That's what the problem was. It just looked like, and the other thing I thought offensively that really surprised me, I thought everybody in this game at one point had disastrous moments. From the defense to the quarterback to the offense to the coaching staff, I thought everybody had a hand in being a disaster at one point or another. There was good things that happened, a lot of good things at times in this game, but everybody then combined or followed up the good things with the negativity or the bad plays. I thought the Raiders were explicitly prepared for Travion Henderson. It looked like that was their number one priority in this game. They were ready for any dink and dunk or screen pass or anything Henderson wanted to do. They were ready for it. And I don't know if that was Chip Kelly, who was with them last year at Ohio State, getting into their ear. They were ready for Travion Henderson. And the two biggest weapons I thought were going to be on the Patriots this year, Pop Douglas and Travion Henderson. I don't want to say they were non-factors, but, Douglas did catch the touchdown. They really didn't do much, and that hurt the Patriots, and ultimately it led them to, down the road offensively they didn't want to be on in that second half.
Yeah, I thought the game changed after the Raiders had that personal foul on Marcus Jones. If you saw that, I thought it was a little bit of a cheap shot. Yep. Jones kind of held his own, but from there, I thought that's where the game changed. Patriots got the ball and run were the 3 play calls. No push whatsoever. You gave the ball back to the Raiders. The Raiders set up for a 58-yard field goal and missed. But when the Pats had the ball out of the half, Drake May's interception. Now he was hit.
Yep.
But that turnover changed the game. I thought the way that they coached it. Again, Drake May was bad today. He could have been better. We probably expected it. I just can't put all the blame on him today, and I'm not putting it all on McDaniels, by the way. Like, I think Vrabel punted on the game late there, too. And when the defense gives up 20 points, Mark, the way I look at it is they did enough today to win the game, the defense. We can get on them. I thought Hawkins got burnt on that first touchdown.
Yeah.
But overall today, this was collaborative. This was Vrabel down the stretch not showing urgency. At times, they didn't trust Drake May, so they ran. And by the way, and the reason why I say the game changed there, they punted on that play. Then the half happened. Interception, punt. You can't win games like that offensively.
So that's why, first of all, Ramondre Stevenson I thought was a no-show in this game. I think he was useless. I'm wondering during the game why he made the team. They had no running ability. The line was to blame. I thought Stevenson was to blame. So that didn't help the situation. There was no play action. There was really nothing other than May passing, and he was continued to go down a bad road. Yeah, I mean, that play there, where was the ball when they started the drive before he threw the interception? They had decent field position, didn't they?
So that was the first drive of the half. And they were moving the ball a bit, and then he took it was a bad throw, but he took a big hit on the same time.
Okay, yeah, they didn't have great field position. But they were moving the ball.
When you get the ball with under 2 minutes to go, you can't give the team the other ball either. Like, they screwed that up. I blame McDaniels on that one, absolutely. Like a sliding call on first down to run? Was that a called run? What was that? Anyways, my point is that's where the game fell apart. Then the turnover, then all the momentum. The Patriots couldn't do anything offensively for the most part in the second half today, and Mike Vrabel got outcoached by Pete Carroll.
That's one of the more disappointing aspects of this, too. As I said opening the show, first-year head coach with the Raiders, first-year quarterback, Geno Smith. I mean, it's not like they had this established program where they're operating with all this continuity and you don't have any of it. This was supposed to be the turnaround. Vrabel, McDaniels, May's been in the system going into year 2. And by the way, can I just say, son of a gun to not have Christian Gonzalez out there. They missed him today. And to be on, injured wherever he is, not available after 5 weeks of trying to rehab that hamstring when you needed him today. This is why I was so upset.
I disagree.
Okay. Why?
I get it. You need him out there.
They needed him today.
Today's the day you need him. Today's not the day you needed them out there. The defense gave up 20 points.
They needed him. They need him every time.
They'll probably
don't have.
They'll probably need him next week. Today was about Drake May and his jitters. They continue from last season.
But the defense, you keep talking about the 20 points. That's fine. But they had big opportunities to make plays. Sometimes they did. And then sometimes they gave up huge chunk play. Too many chunk plays in this game. That is unacceptable, too. If you're talking about, I thought Terrell Williams was severely outcoached by Chip Kelly. I thought Pete Carroll outcoached Mike Vrabel. I thought they were outcoached basically all the way around. The one play that I circled for the Patriots, I love the call on that 3rd and 1 where they kind of lined up like it was 19-18 and gave the ball, who was that, Henderson? That was a great play call. Other than that, I'm mystified again. Pop Douglas, I know he had a couple drops. They didn't really try to feed him in a Wes Welker type of role. Booty was excellent. I loved what I saw from him. I mean, he was the only one that really came to play consistently for this team. It's just very disappointing to see the team unravel like that in the second half, especially when you had momentum and you had the ball and you were approaching, I think, the 50-yard line after a couple first downs. You had the ball, you had momentum. It was the second half, and that interception turned everything around. Not what you want to see. And shades of Gerard Mayo in week 1. Not what I was looking for, not what this team was looking for after the first game in New England when the Las Vegas Raiders came all the way east to play this game. All right. We're going to get a headlines here. We have more to do. We're going to hear from Drake May, Joe Murray. He's got your headlines, and then we'll be back here on the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show.
Sports Hub.
Post-game show, Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. That was the drive of the game. The drive of the game is brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. We'll help you manage life's storms. 617-779-0985 is the phone number. That was the Ashton Genty touchdown that really turned the game on its head as our drive of the game. And just real quick, speaking of driving, we've just got word. There is an accident at the 128-95 split per the Patriots. So if you're in your car and can in any way avoid that area, the Patriots and us, I guess we would advise you to do so if possible.
Yeah, you can hang out with us, but I would suggest going not to where the Canton exit is, heading back to 95 or 93.
Correct. That was the drive of the game, Joe, and that's really where the game turned. Again, the Patriots, I don't want to say they had control of the game, but they really did. They had the ball. They were moving it with a first down. They had the lead, and then the interception followed by that drive where Genty punched it in. The Patriots were never able to recover, and that was that. Offensively in the second half, absolute garbage.
Yep, and you mentioned Genty. I thought he ran the ball pretty well. Overall, I really can't get on the Patriots defense today. If anything, I do want to credit Geno Smith. I thought on that 4th and 1 play to Mayer was a really great play.
Great play, making plays.
So overall, did they get sliced and diced on the first drive? Absolutely. And did Hawkins get burnt? Yep, it happened. Today's story is about Drake May. It's about bad football. You can't have penalties, as Mike Vrabel said in the post-game show. He mentioned the penalties and the turnovers in the second half. That was the difference in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Genty, 19 carries, 38 yards. The Patriots did a pretty good job, 2 yards a carry. It wasn't like he dominated, but that was a good way to finish that drive, and he did well there. All right, let's go to the phones again. 617-779-0985 if you want to chime in on what we just witnessed there. Danny is in the car to lead us off. Hey, Danny.
Yeah, so I'll just say the old school Poodle Pete Abalone, my favorite, out-coached, out-coach, and I would say that it's going to be a long season.
Pete Carroll, who's an accomplished coach, I get that, but he came up and did the job today and out-coached Mike Vrabel. I mean, he came in here prepared. They looked prepared today, Joe, and it came up more for the Raiders. They came up big with big plays when they needed to, and that was a big story in this game, and one that, frankly, I wasn't expecting.
Where I got really more out of Pete Carroll today was when the Patriots were down and they had to punt that first time. Then the next time, they really turned the heat on that offensive line. Will Campbell, Drake May made a mistake stepping up in the pocket on one of Campbell's.
Correct. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily on Campbell.
I wouldn't blame him.
Bad pocket presence.
But later on, Campbell got beat. He had that false start as well. But it was Max Crosby really started to make an impact in the game there. And I think that's where they took over. But Chip Kelly, I got to give him credit. He's been out of the NFL for a long time. He had some really good play calls. And to go for it on that 4th and 1 play, I can't say it enough. They could have gave the ball back to the Pats. Pats had multiple chances. That's why I say on the 4th and 10 when the Patriots punted, that was literally conceding the game.
Yeah, they had multiple chances. And again, it was just because the quarterback couldn't keep pace with the one in the silver and black, and he's at the podium right now. Drake May's press conference is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers and the Chevy Silverado, where dependability comes standard. Here's Drake May.
Just got to get the first down. I think once we kind of get the first down, I think we kind of moved the ball well, and got in the rhythm. And I think just adjusting from halftime. I think I could do a better job of getting the guys and making throws. And I thought the guys up front battled hard. I think they blocked them pretty well up front. I thought, and like I said, just get the first down, and from there, I think just make some better throws. Be more accurate, and I think getting points out of that first drive would have been huge.
Could you take us through the play that led to the interception?
Yeah. I think I thought I had Diggs, over on the right, and got to kind of look back at it on the film. You don't have a great look at it. I think I missed it high. I think I got to step into it more. I think I may have got hit up front, but that's just part of playing quarterback in this league. You got to step into the throw and take hits and be accurate. And there's plays throughout the game you wish you had back, and I can think of 3 or 4 from me that can help dictate the game. And it's just a bummer thinking back and looking back at those.
Chris Gasper Drake, can you tell me what happened in the first half on the delay of game? It was 3rd and 12 at the Vegas 17. You guys broke the huddle with about 14 seconds. What happened there? It looked like maybe you were trying to change the play.
Yeah, just trying to get in. Trying to get into a good play. I think just got to be better with bring the back in the backfield, timing it up with the play clock. I saw it at the end, and I think I surprised Garrett. Trying to get the ball. I think that's what happened, and just got to be more efficient getting out of the huddle. I think got to preach to those guys and give us more time to operate. I think that starts with me and getting those guys in the huddle, get them out of the huddle, kind of being efficient, and just going from there.
And how would you characterize your overall comfort level in Josh's offense in a real game for the first time?
Yeah, I feel pretty good at that. I thought I was seeing it well. Make some better throws, but kind of the first time, kind of adjusting from a halftime and coming in from there. Just got to be better on my part. I think down in the red zone and little things with details. 7 versus 3 is huge in this league, and just make every possession count. And I know there's times that we have looks that we like, and I can think of letting a couple rip that I should have right now. So just taking advantage of every possession and just trying to build those guys and, like I said, get the first down.
Drake, Mike in his opening remarks talked about kind of a sense of urgency and finding out who the team was this upcoming week and facing some adversity and how committed you guys are going to be to getting better. How would you kind of describe this moment where it's only one game, but does it feel like there's an urgency to get better quickly?
Yeah, no doubt. I think there's urgency to don't let this game kind of bleed into the next. I think we got a chance with a division opponent. We're going down there, and anytime you're playing a division opponent, it matters. It means something, and bounce back and realize that at the same time learn from it. Learn from as much as we can, but at the same time, it's one game, and we gotta get back, and it's a long season, so get back at it and do what I need to do to play better on my end and help guys around me play better, and then from there just lean into each other. I think that's the big thing around here. We spend so much time together, lean into each other and fix what we need to fix and learn from it, and hopefully the goal is not to have it show up again.
Mike Vrabel mentioned in the second half that the Raiders were kind of switching up coverages and pressures. What did you see in the first half, and what were some ways they adjusted in the second that you may have noticed? Yeah,
I think any NFL team, they're going to try to adjust at halftime and just try to give mix up looks and bring some all-out pressure in the second half. So just having answers and just being quicker. I think just being quicker and make more throws. And I think it was maybe the second drive where they messed up the kickoff and we had the ball in the 40 and I missed Hunt over the middle on the first down and the second down I had a chance. So just plays like that, you don't realize that those plays are going to be the ones you look back on and feel like, man, if we hit those, it's a different ball game. So it's a bummer looking back at that now, but yeah, I think just adjusting to what they do, that's the part of the chess match of playing in the National Football League.
Drake, what did you see in the screen game, and how can you guys get more out of that going forward?
Yeah, I think those guys, something that you work on. I think it's something that can be, effective and impactful, and I think it's great it's great when you got to establish the run and then make them panic drop, and then I think everything will kind of flow off establishing the run. I think they did a good job of stopping the run, and from there I think just time it up and kind of longer getting the drive. Sometimes screens work better, and the pass rush is coming, so just finding times when to call them and just trusting coach on when he's calling them and just try to execute.
Drake, I'm curious, it seemed like you were hitting multiple receivers today. It wasn't just like one guy you were going to for the most part. How important is it to have numerous guys you can go to at any time, and just what did you feel you got out of that receiver room today? Yeah, I thought they brought it. I thought they were bringing energy on the sideline. I thought they were being physical, getting open. I could have gave them some more chances to make plays, and you saw a lot of different guys make catches, and I think they're taking the challenge head on to be a great room and blocking the run game, and there's things they can clean up and things that we can clean up together. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that room can do. But yeah, just having everybody in the game plan and keeping everybody honest, not to just roll coverage over one guy or double team one guy. You got to have answers and have guys that make plays, and those guys thought they did that today.
Drake, obviously 10 points isn't enough in this league, but can you talk about it? It didn't seem there were a lot of I don't know if there were opportunities or even attempts to make that explosive play, long play. Very few. I know Kayshawn said something about them playing deep safeties. There just really wasn't an attempt to really look long.
Yeah, I think that's something that Coach Carroll and Graham have done in their career is kind of drop, have eyes on the quarterback and not let you hit the big play. And I think there's chances. Tonight I thought we had some 20 or 20 plus plays, but that's not a huge play. I think that just kind of let the game flow. And I think try to get the ball out quick. They got a good edge rusher up front, and they changed. In the second half, they played a lot of too high zone looks, and it's tough to throw big plays against that. So I think I can think back at one or two times where I know I would have had a big play.
Last question, Drake, you've talked about being a little bit too amped up at the beginning of games, maybe having some jitters. I think you missed DeMario on the first drive. Is that what was going on that play, or was something else?
No, I think just adjusting to the kind of the weather out there. I think the first drive, I think you got teammates around you, and you're coming out there and pregame and throwing and feeling good. So I don't think that was the case. I felt good out there today. I feel like I had a good rhythm. Got in a good rhythm that second drive, and from there, just it was a boundary throw to Pop, and just missing a little high. But from there, I thought I was seeing it well, and I don't think that was really. I felt pretty good out there on the first drive.
Thank you, Drake. Thanks, everyone. All right, that was Patriots quarterback Drake May after a 20-13 loss. The numbers not horrific, but if you watch the game, obviously that is the reason they couldn't get it done. That's the reason that the Patriots came up short in today's NFL. The quarterback, Joe, as we've said, we continue to say, and we all know, is so huge, and Geno Smith made more plays than Drake May did on this day. When we get back, more of your reaction, more of our reaction on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network, and the Stars and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show.
And from the 46 of Las Vegas on the right hash mark, Garrett Bradbury, the new center, will snap it back to May. Stevenson to his right. Three to the left.
Safety on tight
one
end.
right. Diggs, the inside slot left. May drops back, moves up, throws it to the left. It's caught by Booty, who takes a hit and bounces right. Runs to the right hash mark at the 23, and he's tackled there. Devin White eventually with a play on Kayshon Booty, who's shaken up after the hit.
All right, welcome back to the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. The Patriots converted 18 first downs today, and with every first down, credit Union's Kids at Heart funds promising studies into new treatments for pediatric brain diseases. Learn more at cukidsatheart.org. Patriots fall to the Raiders 20-13. And back to the call, 617-779-0985. Jake is in Boston. Hey, Jake.
What's going on, gentlemen? Listen, I don't love these Boston sports media hype accounts who have just blown Drake May up to be something he's not at this point. And this is the most important position on the most important team. This is the guy who you depend on if you're going to have any sort of success this season. He was brutal, as was Will Campbell. Short arms was awful today as well. There were throws where I swear it looked like watching Chuck Knobloch trying to throw to first base 25 years ago. His aim was so bad. And here's someone who spent more time on engagements and weddings than he did on football the last season, his offseason, and his commercial workload, thankfully, not as bad as Mac Jones headed into year two. But that said, Mark, given the weather, aren't you upset that they didn't try and run more with those three guys? I know they did a number on Henderson. I'm just surprised the game plan called for Drake May throwing the ball, 46 times on a bad field surface? That to me doesn't make any sense at all.
I am not upset. I'm shocked. I actually like that, Joe. I like the fact that they were putting the ball in Drake May. So in the middle of the second quarter, I was feeling good because they were not trying to ground and pound. Now, would I have liked the running game to have been a little bit more productive to help out the offense, to help out the quarterback? Yes. But I like the fact that they were putting the ball in his hands. And for the most part, early on, it was working out. Then it completely unraveled. So I didn't like that. I would have liked a little more balance. You don't ever want to be one-dimensional. But I liked that they were trying to prioritize throwing the ball. It didn't look like they were doing high school plays. It's just he wasn't good enough. And I will just say one other thing. I don't necessarily at this point think it's indicative that he sucks, he can't play, and we should start looking at college quarterbacks coming into the draft next year. I just think it was a bad first game, and he didn't execute. And that's one in the negative column for Drake May. I thought there was some hope, but for the most part, he was outplayed by the other quarterback today, and it wasn't all that close.
Yeah, I agree on the running stuff. What I didn't like was the pitches and the just a lot of pitch moves instead of clear handoffs.
Sure.
They tried that tush push. Did you see that one? Or a form of a tush push. It was a penalty offside, but it was a different look. But I think the Raiders were all over them running the ball today. And in the pregame show, I believe it was Mike Reese and Zoe talked about them throwing the ball despite the weather. So the weather wasn't in effect as far as throwing the ball to maybe a few slips here and there. Maybe that was his problem today. I don't know, but overall, they got to get a little bit more out of the running game, especially on that third down play. But I just thought there was a little bit too much pitch play, too much, just a lot of, it got a little bit cute. You know where else they got cute? On defense on the first touchdown. They had Williams and Barmore back in coverage and a blitz from the outside, but yet get beat right over the middle from safety. Just a little too cute on both sides of the ball. But they were in it in the first half. They had no juice in the second half, and I can't wait to talk to Greg Bedard in a bit because, remember, he had that comment about a very soft camp, the softest camp of his life. They weren't. Remember last year, Gerard Mayo running up the hill? Yeah, they didn't have it today in the second half.
No. But that was a team that was trying to run the ball, and that's kind of the difference. And that's what I was liking. They weren't trying to be that team in the first half, and they were ahead. It was working for the most part. Yep. So I enjoyed that. But then when it went completely sideways in the second half, and you couldn't execute anything, then all of a sudden I'm questioning the game plan and the scheme, and I'm also thinking, well, do they suck again? Because it looked like a lot of what we dealt with last year in that second half, and it wasn't good. 617-779-0985. Joe Murray's going to get you caught up with the headlines, but first, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
They lose today, 20-13 was the final in this one. Drake May threw the ball 46 times today. That's a lot. He also threw an interception in the second half, which changed the game. The Raiders went up 20-10, and, well, they had a lot of punts in the second half, and they'll take on the Miami Dolphins next week, who had a tough day today. Well, speaking of punts, the Colts never did today in the win over the Dolphins. And that's who the Patriots will see next week. Rest of the scoreboard, though. You saw the Cardinals with a 20-13 win over the Saints. Steelers 34, Jets 32. It was Washington 21, the Giants 6. Buccaneers got a 23-20 win over the Falcons. Bengals hung on over the Browns 17-16. And right now underway, there was a delay in this game. Jaguars have a 23-10 lead on the Panthers. Tie game between the Titans and Broncos in the second quarter, along with the 49ers and Seahawks. Packers, they have a 10-0 lead over the Lions. Texans, they lead the Rams 3-0. And tonight, you'll see the Ravens
Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Nearly 30,000 people in Massachusetts don't have permanent housing. Heading Home is changing that. Get involved today at headinghomeinc.org. And that was the Pop Douglas touchdown catch. Joey, you want the good news or the bad news? The good news, I'll just give it to you. The good news is Pop Douglas made a touchdown catch. That's the good news. The bad news is, well, 2 receptions for -2 yards on the day, an average of -1 yards. That's not ideal.
Yeah. I'll start with the touchdown. I thought Drake May knew the play exactly when he got to the line. He set up the defense. He knew the blitz was off, and he threw it where Douglas could only catch it. That was a great play by Drake May.
Great throw.
Great play, great throw, awareness, you name it. Had a couple other good throws in the game as well. But, yeah, the Douglas thing, I think it kind of opened things up for Kayshon Boutte, who had 6 for 100. And at times, maybe Hunter Henry got involved. The -2 yards, it's not good enough. He disappeared in the second half as well. So, although he looked involved, he had a drop, too, if you remember, in the first half.
Early in the game, yep.
So, yeah, I guess if you want to look at why the offense struggled a bit, Demario Douglas certainly wasn't popping in the second half of this game.
Back to the phone. Sean is leaving the game. Hey, Sean.
Hey, yeah, I'm absolutely livid with this team right now. Drake May's performance, might as well call him Drake Jones because it seems like it's going to be the same thing for another 3 years. Josh McDaniels stinks. His play calling is abysmal, putting it in his hands 46 times. And why does Drake May look like he has a crap in his pants when he's trying to be mobile outside of the pocket? This team will never have another winning season until Kraft sells the team and we get rid of everyone that rode Brady's coattails.
Okay, let me ask you this question, Joe. Seriously, is there any reason after this game and this singular performance we should not make a parallel between Drake May and Mac Jones?
No, again, Mac Jones's issues was his actual ability, like his arm strength, right? And quite frankly, like they didn't trust him. I'm almost curious if they tried to run in the second half because they didn't trust Drake May today. I'm almost curious. I think they still believe in the kid. I won't make any correlation at all for that. But again, I think there's too much going on for Drake May. He has to make the calls, the cadences. I know that other quarterbacks in the league do this, but he doesn't have the experience of other quarterbacks in the league. And when you look at the rookie class from a year ago, they're all guys who played at multiple schools for multiple years. He played 2 years at North Carolina. He didn't start the season last year, which was a joke to begin with.
Right.
So I just feel like he needs more reps. And to ask him to do everything at the line when you have literally a veteran at center who can make those calls. This is the mic. It takes things off his plate. I get it. He's the third overall pick. There's a lot of expectations. That's why I think he's struggling. And he does have the jitters early on, and he even admitted it. He had it today. The only thing that disappointed me was whenever he's made a turnover or a mistake, he's always responded. He didn't today.
See, this is why I hate the preseason. I hate it. How do you get ready for something like that based on joint practices? Okay, and not even playing in real preseason games. These quarterbacks that have to go into these situations, I feel like have no chance. And the Patriots didn't help them out. And like you said, we're going to talk to Greg Bedard coming up, we hope within the hour. We'll get that time for you as soon as we can. You got to get out there and be in game situations and feel that heat. And they didn't do that enough. They didn't prepare it. I mean, they do with what they can in terms of what the NFL rules are today. But he was not ready. He was nervous. He looked clunky. He looked overwhelmed. Just all of the above. Chris is in Florida. Hey, Chris.
Hey, boys. Hey, so regardless of how bad T-Rex left tackle played and Drake May played, that decision to punt with as little time left was so cowardly. Like, how is that the mindset of our brand new head coach coming off the terrible season that we just had? Like, how is that acceptable? I wanted to break my TV.
Mindset, Joe. What was that decision in terms of the mindset? What did that say to you about how they thought about the offense?
There's no urgency, something that Mike Vrabel talked about this year. He also talked about effort and finish this year is one of their things. They didn't have that, and it's on him. That's on him. I can blame Josh McDaniels for play calling, etc., but when it's a fourth down play, on 4th and 5, you're going for it. But your quarterback wasn't ready and didn't communicate with the line and didn't set him up, so the rookie left tackle false started. Nobody else moved but him. He never communicated. That, again, I would have gone for it on 4th and 10 because there's 4 minutes left and you have 3 timeouts. Vrabel, after the game, said that he thought he would get a good punt. Again, the punt was 21 yards.
Awful. The punter was awful today. And by the way, if it was a one-score game, I'm okay. That makes sense.
That's right.
Or maybe if your defense had shut down the opponent all day long. I mean, they were just balling. That was not happening.
Yeah, 8 points or in. Do it. You got 3 timeouts. They got the ball back too.
Right.
Like that's what bothered me. Where was the urgency? You're at home. Today they needed that. That could have got Drake May out of the hole, could have got the offense. We could be talking about a different thing here, and maybe they did get the ball back with a chance to win or tie the game.
Instead, you protect them. And when you punt that ball, the game's over. The game was over at that point. It was essentially waving the white flag, and they didn't. Yeah, they got the ball back or whatever, but that wasn't enough. They didn't do enough, and they couldn't score another touchdown. We did get word that Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal will join us at 5:20 here.
There we go.
On the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Let's get another call, and Carl is in Westfield. Hey, Carl.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm not sure. I think what Joe says is important. One good pass isn't nearly enough. He's trying to do too much. I think that team's a lot better than people realize at this time. And Pete Carroll is one of the best minds. Watching what he did at halftime to adjust so their defense came out and shut us down, that was concerning because the first half felt better than the second half. Like Joe said, they didn't seem to have it. They seemed to realize they were beat. And also, when he threw into triple coverage, Drake almost got picked off again with the one he did get picked off in, which it changes the direction of the game. The best thing about this terrible first game is after listening to what Drake said, he's not too high or low. He did have an objective grasp of what the problems were. And then, again, not to beat a dead horse, that Oakland team and that coach are no joke. That's not something to scoff at. But I think one game is a sample. I hope we do a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, look, the culture of the Raiders, I'm not here to talk about that. That doesn't mean anything. And I didn't think, we were talking about this, I think, off the air, Joe, the roster, and, pound for pound, I didn't think that the Raiders had this big advantage today.
No.
It was just about execution, and the Patriots couldn't do it.
Yeah, Bowers got hurt, wasn't even there late in the second half. They had the Thornton's a rookie who made some big plays. So maybe if you want to bring up the Gonzalez thing, maybe, he doesn't get the big play later on that one. But I just, oh, God, a tale of two halves once again. And the juice in the second half, we can say whatever we want about last year's team. But, and just getting back on the Raiders thing, this is what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
The Raiders brought in Pete Carroll, who's an experienced coach, and spent $6 million on an offensive coordinator. The Patriots brought back a guy that's been out of the league that nobody wanted and gave all the keys to Drake May. And a defensive-minded coach in Mike Vrabel took over, who's a running football coach. Did we see any of the things that were advertised today by the coaching staff?
Not really.
Thank you.
I am not as down on what Josh McDaniels represents for this offense as you are right now. Did he have too much on his plate? Probably. This is what I was concerned about, though, because some of the things, the positive strides he made in camp, in the preseason, were good, but we didn't know, would he be able to see the line of, read a defense, pre-snap, how good was he? I didn't get a good feeling in any of those areas today. And post-snap didn't look that great. Like I said, the pocket presence I felt like was weak.
Do you think that all right, how about this? Do you think the calls that came in today, if Drake May just made the plays, they were good enough to win the game?
Probably not to win the game, no.
Okay.
No. They could have been better. It would have looked cleaner. But to win the game, no, it wasn't the difference-making result. I mean, I'm looking at some of these other games. You look at what the Jaguars are doing. It feels like I'm not watching every snap of that game, that Liam Cohen is making a difference. Some of the plays, some of the positions that Trevor Lawrence has been in, that's something you feel. I didn't really feel Josh McDaniels' impact today. You know what? I didn't feel it. It wasn't that he was terrible. I just didn't feel his impact today like I was hoping.
Did you feel Mike Vrabel's impact?
No. It felt like Jerron Mayo. That's what I'm saying. That's what's disappointing. Defensively, they're giving up chunk plays. Mm-hmm. I mean, Landry was good today, I thought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was an impact. This is what I mean. Drake May, in general, did not make the plays.
Right.
But I feel like he wasn't, I don't want to use the word coached up. I just don't. I think he had a lot on his plate, and they were relying on him to make all the plays and just leaning on him without any adjustments.
Ashley wants to talk about the fourth down. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I want to talk about the fourth down and what's the deal. Like, the game is over. It's 4 minutes left. The game is over. Why are you punting the ball? You have no time left to get it back.
I mean, it's just you had to be perfect, and they weren't close to that defensively today. You would have had to get that quick 3 and out, then score quickly, which you weren't doing. I mean, you were better off trying and maybe you get a penalty. It would have been better.
I have a better answer. They didn't trust Drake May.
Yeah. Not today. Not based on how things went today. And now I don't know
what's that mean. Like, that's a bad look. That's a bad look for him, the team.
It is, but
bad.
What it means is I'm wondering if they thought they were going to get more out of him, and I'm going to be interested in the next game to see what type of style they want to play. Because I like the fact, like I've said, that they were trying to put things on his plate, that they were trying to be more dynamic. They were throwing the ball. They were putting it in his hands. Are they going to now go back to ground and pound and run the ball? 1988 offense. Like, that's what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah.
And now they might have to go back to that.
I got one more.
Yeah.
Remember the play I keep talking about? It was a 3rd and 20. Somehow the Raiders got the first down. Call the timeout. Your defense is out there, killing it. They needed a break. You needed to get that team together and rally around that one.
Are you talking about the end of the game?
Yeah, they needed to stop there.
Yeah, I know. You know what, though? I'll say this. I actually don't fully blame Carlton Davis on that. It was an awful conversion to give up, obviously. But it is just a guess. Based on what I saw, it almost looked like he didn't trust the offense and was thinking, okay, I'm going to try to jump the route and get some big play so they don't just punt it away and the offense has to go 80, 70 yards. That's what it looked like to me.
There was a trickle-down effect to not going for it on 4th down.
617-779-0985. We're going to be joined by the Boston Sports Journal's Greg Bedard here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show coming up after the break on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
stacked to the right of May. Back Holland, split left. Diggs to the right. Handoff. Henderson runs it left at the 20, outside the numbers. Bobo stays on his feet, and he works his way to the sideline. With extra yardage off contact, forced out of bounds, short of the 15.
It's a nice look there with the staggered backs. Gibson, the lead blocker there. Nice job by Wenu getting out to that left side. Hey, this kid doesn't quit. So receivers, man, keep blocking down there. Henderson just keeps going.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Unclogging the Gaps is brought to you by Eastern Mass's leader in drain cleaning and pipe lining. Drains by James. Slow drain, clog drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. They give a poop about your pipes. And with that, we welcome in Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal after a Week 1 loss from the New England Patriots to the Las Vegas Raiders. Greg, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Good. What's up, fellas? I'm sure this will be a very calm and rational discussion about this game.
Hey, we're not being irrational. We're just reacting to what we saw, and I'm going to start with this, Greg. Based on especially that second half, okay, what you saw in that second half, what was the worst part of the game today overall for the Patriots?
I thought the worst part of the game for the Patriots today was the performance of Drake May. Like I think we all understand that if you have grand illusions for this team, if you have visions of grandeur that they're going to make a postseason push, and who knows what might happen, which could still happen. That doesn't happen without Drake May playing really well. And I did not think Drake May played really well today. I thought it was a continuation of what we saw in the preseason against the Commanders and especially against the Vikings. And I just don't think he was good enough, and I thought he was thoroughly outplayed by Geno Smith.
Greg, just to stick with Drake May, he's had conversations about jitters early on in games. He had them today. I think he's doing too much in the Josh McDaniels offense. He had that delay a game. I think that's another reason why he has the jitters. He sailed a few balls. And then the turnover was the turning point in the game today. Do you feel that he is doing too much at the line, or do you think he's picked up the offense easily and it's really just about his ability more than having too much on his plate, I guess?
Yeah, I can't say that it's the McDaniels offense or anything like that. I mean, what I see is just a sloppy quarterback. I mean, that first throw to Demario Douglas, it didn't have anything to do with the guy was wide open. And there must have been 6 or 7 wide open receivers today that he missed, that he wasn't accurate with. And to me, that has nothing to do with the offense. That has to do with his sloppy mechanics sort of reverting back to, and I don't even think he made that much progress last year with it, to be frank. A lot of the stuff that we saw at North Carolina, that first throw to Demario Douglas, that's all about his legs, his feet getting narrow before he throws. And this is something that has been an issue for him for years. And it's just not cleaned up. And until he cleans it up, and you could put the blame on the coaching, I'm sure that's part of it. But I see a quarterback, and I brought this up on Felger and Maz. I got some blowback about it. I just don't know how much of a taskmaster he is, how maniacal he is about to be really good, I need to be my fundamentals need to be flawless, and I just don't think he believes that. I think he's more of a shrug, whatever, I'll make a play next time. And I just think he's a immature, inexperienced quarterback at this time, and you're going to get that until he evolves from that process.
It didn't look to me, and I didn't go through the film or anything like that, but it didn't look like to me he was really going through his progressions all that well. Was he ever scanning the field during the entire game? It looked like it was one read and throw, or one read and then he'd be scrambling and trying to keep the play alive, but he'd ultimately run, and he kind of looked timid when he ran. Did you ever see him go through a progression or make a good read pre-snap even in this game, Greg?
Well, I would say that in most circumstances, Mark, it's a bit of a misnomer that, like, you know, when you talk about, I'm sure people listening are imagining like him, you know, starting off on the right side and basically like going 1, 2, 3, 4 basically across the field. That doesn't really happen all that often. And
Geno Smith did it today.
Yeah, that's because he could have had a sandwich back there, you know, a couple times. But you know, really, and this is the way the offense works, is due to your pre-snap read and what you think they're going to be in post-snap. And I thought the Raiders got a little bit more creative at that, kind of mess with Drake a little bit. Based on your pre-snap you read, you're basically eliminating half the field. So you're like, all right, well, I think I'm going to get this look, or we have the numbers on this side, so now I'm working, you know, 1 to 2, maybe to 3. If that's the back out of the backfield. And I just think that sometimes Drake plays sped up. I don't know the reason for that. I mean, like there was one time, and early on in the game, you know, he sailed the ball to Douglas. Then there were a couple of other times where he's basically like going back, looking, and then taking off, and he's getting like 1 yard where, you know, play quarterback. Like I remember one time Stephon Diggs was wide open, like right in front of him. Just check it down to him. And so I just think that he's sort of a neophyte in all of this, and I think that people are just going to have a lot of patience.
Do you think when they punted the ball after the Will Campbell false start to make it 4th and 10, they didn't believe in Drake May to go for it? I know Vrabel after the game said he wanted a better punt, which was a 21-yarder, not good, but
it was horrendous.
Why not go for it in that play?
It's a great question. You know, I understand where Mike's coming from, and that was just like, and Behringer had a couple of those today. You know, very disappointed in the special teams today. Like none of the team really played well. I mean, other than like, you know, Harold Landry,
Booty,
you know, looked like Booty. Yep. You know, basically, you know, Milton Williams, I thought did some nice things up front. I thought they got good pass pressure, you know, most of the game, and when they didn't, Geno hit them. But I as far as that 4th and 10, I understand where Mike's coming from. You're thinking you're going to pin them, they're going to run the ball, they're not going to try to do too very much, and you're going to get the ball with good field position and blah blah blah. But yeah, I mean that might be Mike not understanding Drake and his ability, because Drake's actually probably at his best in those circumstances. And so I think, you know, Mike's just going to have to get used to that Drake can make those plays, and he often pulls them out of his rear end.
It looked to me, Greg, like the Raiders, and I could be wrong, but it looked like they were really keying on Travion Henderson. And I don't know if that was because Chip Kelly was with him at Ohio State last year, but they looked totally prepared for any of the checkdowns or the screen passes or anything that the Patriots wanted to do to Henderson. Did you get that feeling? And overall, did you feel like the Raiders staff outdid the Patriots coaching staff?
Yes, but because I think that the Raiders had more to work with in terms of talent. Now, they did lose Bowers at one point, but also from the sake of continuity. I mean, you know, I think a big reason why the Patriots showed the way they did today were a couple things. And this is something I brought up before. I did not think Mike Vrabel ran a very hard camp. This is now the 4th straight season opening loss that a team of his has had, and none of those games, the games that they lost, you know, one was like 16-15, another was on a field goal. He even said the other day, got boat raced by the Cardinals, and now this one was pretty ugly. I thought what you're talking about in terms of Henderson, it looked to me in the second half that at halftime when the Raiders coaches got together, they said, none of these guys are running by us. So, like, why are we being so cautious? Like, let's just play man coverage. If they happen to beat us, I don't think they're going to. Tip your cap. But we are going on the defensive in the second half, and we're going to make them prove that they can beat us, and we don't think that they can.
All right, we're going to get to when we get back, Greg, I want to play a little game of bad game or bad sign. Just because it was not a good second half, and I'm feeling the mood. We're gonna take a break, but first, Joe Murray's got your headlines, and then we'll be back on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots fall in the opener 20-13 today to the Raiders. Drake May 30 of 46. did have a touchdown pass to Pop Douglas, also threw an interception to start the second half. Patriots only had 60 yards on the ground today. Kayshon Boutte, 6 receptions, 103 yards. Was a good day for Brock Bowers. 5 catches, 100 yards, but left the game with an injury. The Patriots now look at the Miami Dolphins, who got blown out today by the Colts 33-8. Some other NFL scores. Jaguars just took care of the Panthers 26-10. It was the Bucs 23-20 over the Falcons. Bengals 17, Browns 16. Cardinals got a 20-13 win over the Saints. The Steelers win a wild one versus the Jets. Halftime.
Pass to Bob Douglas, and now trying to pick up a 3rd down and 5. The Pats are 3 for 10 on 3rd down. They trail it 17-10. May points to his helmet, adjusts Stevenson in front of him from the gun, takes the snap, a rush, and a throw to the right, and a quick hitter is good for a 1st down. Able to connect with Diggs again out to the 45-yard line to close the 3rd quarter of play.
All right, back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray, 617-779-0985. With 30 completions by the Patriots today, Catches Law donates another $3,000, which brings the Catches for College season total to $3,000. It's week 1. The Catches Cares Scholarship ensures financial hurdles will not prevent students from pursuing their dreams. And now we are rejoined by Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. And Greg, we're going to play a little game of good game, check that. Bad game, bad sign. Just because of the way the second half played out and the offensive inefficiencies that we witnessed. So we're going to play bad game or bad sign based on the following players, and feel free to be brief here. Drake May, was it a bad game or was it a bad sign, what we saw?
Bad sign.
Oh, no.
Well, bad sign in that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
Like if you thought that he was just going to hit the ground running and be dramatically better Drake in week 1, I just don't think that was realistic. But I am hopeful that he will steadily improve over the course of the season.
Their starting running back today was Ramondre Stevenson. Bad game or bad sign from Ramondre Stevenson today, Greg?
Bad game. I thought the run operation in general was not very good, and I won't know why until I see the film.
Here's another one that surprised me. Bad game or bad sign, Pop Douglas.
Ooh, yeah. I just saw that. I just noticed that he had, 2 targets for -2 yards?
I think he had 7 targets, 2 catches for -2 yards.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say that's a bad game. I think that they will look at the film and adjust and find a way to get him more involved.
Maybe it's debatable whether this is a bad game, but it took him a little bit of time. Stephon Diggs might be a little harsh, but was it a bad game or a bad sign that he looked a little uninvolved early?
I think that is about what you're going to get. I'm going to say neither, right in the middle. That is what you should expect from Diggs for at least part of this season.
All right. Keon White, did you see him on the field at all today? I know he's playing good game. Was that a bad sign for him not being out there at all?
It's been a bad sign for him for about a month that he basically has no role on this team, and he is just a sort of depth guy, rotational guy at this point, and so it's a bad sign.
And another one that you could have put into this category, I was kind of waiting. I was trying to be patient, but it looked like it started to get off the rails a little bit late. But what was your overall takeaway and the performance of Will Campbell today, Greg?
I thought that for a bulk of the game, I thought that Will Campbell was pretty good. Of course, he had the 2 false starts. The one sack by Tyree Wilson, that one looked like it was on him. There was another one that the announcer said was on him, but it really wasn't. What happened was Max Crosby lined up over Jared Wilson and sort of split the block with Bradbury. Started to get up, and Drake May sort of stepped up in the pocket, and that's not where Will Campbell's leverage was. So, but I thought overall, that Will Campbell was solid. It was not a strong finish to the game for him.
So I just want to ask Greg, in terms of their overall offensive philosophy, it looked like I was encouraged early because it looked like they were trying to put the ball in Drake May's hands. They were trying to make plays in the passing game, go downfield, be a little bit more dynamic. Did you think ultimately that was a poor decision? I guess that's kind of a silly question after what we saw in the second half. Or do you think that they should reel it back in going into Miami? Should they continue to try to give the Patriots more opportunities offensively to be dynamic, or do you have to reel it back in and try to go back to ground and pound and being more ultra conservative based on what we saw in that second half especially?
I think, Mark, that and I'm also sort of using my basis, and maybe I shouldn't, of my history with this offense and the Patriots in general, mostly under Bill Belichick. But with this offense and Josh McDaniels, I think it's the best path for them for this to pay off long term for Drake May and the team is they need to dial things back and establish themselves, establish a physicality on the offensive line, run the ball between the tackles better, make sure they're doing more high percentage things in the pass game and build on that. And hopefully at some point, the big plays will come and you can expand things a bit.
Greg, I know you brought it up earlier, and it was your take from preseason that it was a very light camp. They had no juice in the second half today. Is that a bad sign?
Yeah, I do. And this was, one of my worries that now I will say, from the time that after the time that I said that on Felger and Maz, and I talked about how it was the lightest training camp I've ever seen, and that was just a fact at the time. Now I will say it picked up after that. I still think Gerard Mayo's camp was harder, and we saw that the way the Patriots came out to start last season. It is. I think it's a bad sign, but Vrabel has the long game in mind, and I think that's why he chose to do things the way that he did them, and we'll have to see ultimately whether that pays off or not.
Just to follow up, the Dolphins got blown out today. The Patriots have the Dolphins next week. There was no Christian Gonzalez today. Do you think that affected the Patriots defense at all?
Well, yeah, I'm sure it did. I mean, it would be hard to tell because we haven't seen Christian in 5 weeks, so I don't even remember what the defense looks like with him on the field because he didn't even last to the team periods in the first padded practice. I mean, but obviously he makes a difference. And I think that, there's a trickle-down effect. Like we saw Carlton Davis, they started to match him on Bowers on certain plays, third downs. That probably would have gone to Christian Gonzalez. And then maybe, Carlton Davis is taking care of Jacoby Myers, even though I thought Alex Austin did some nice things. I thought, Jalen Hawkins had the interception, but really that was Carlton Davis. There was some iffy play in the secondary. When they were getting desperate at times, and that means you got to hold up in the back end. Can Hawkins and Woodson and I saw Kyle Duggar out there as a third safety at certain points. Can those guys hold up? I mean, you could say all you want about the offense and that it wasn't the defense if you just want to look at the points, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that. But I'm looking at the miscellaneous statistic report after this game, from the NFL, and this is like the 20-plus pass plays. I mean, first of all, the Raiders had so many, I think it went off the sheet. And the Patriots only had 3 plays over 20 yards. They both happened in the first half. The Raiders' top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays, 38, 36, 34, 30, 28, all happened in the second half. So you can look at the points all you want. It was a sloppy day. There was, Geno Smith made a few curious decisions. But the defense didn't really do their part today either.
Last thing from me, Greg, in terms of positives to take away from this, is there any big positive takeaway that the Patriots could look at as they move towards week 2 in Miami?
I thought that the defensive line and Robert Spillane seemed to play well. I thought that they got after it. That's a pretty decent Raiders offensive line. And I thought they really started to hit a rhythm in terms of their stunts and twists and all that, and defended the run really well. That was really good. That will serve them well. And also, just the way they worked up front, I did think that they, were sort of fast and relentless up front. Yeah, they got blocked up a few times. That's going to happen. But I thought, I would say the front seven overall, maybe not Christian Ellis, but the front seven overall was pretty good and as advertised, and I feel good about that. And I thought the defense for the most part, was better than I expected for most of the game. And then if you can add a Christian Gonzalez into that, it could be even better. So that's sort of the positive I'm taking from this game.
All right, Greg Bedard, always a pleasure. Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal joining us. We'll look forward to his analysis after he's watched the tape on Felger and Maz on Tuesday. Greg, thanks so much.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
All right, and we'll be right back here. More to get to on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots post-game show on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
In recent years, advances in the fight to cure pediatric brain disorders such as epilepsy, moyamoya disease, and brain cancer have been relentless. However, more work remains, and Credit Union's Kids at Heart is determined to move the ball forward again. This year, for each New England first down, Credit Union's Kids at Heart will make donations to its Boston area medical partners in order to fund research and clinical trials. Together, we'll overcome challenges, discover new therapies, and one day find cures for these diseases. Learn more at cukidsatheart.org. The First Downs to Fight Pediatric Brain Disease campaign is generously supported by Quincy Credit Union and Service Credit Union.
If you need tires, think Town Fair Tire. Thinking name brands? We have them all. Thinking price? We beat the competitors. Free services? We have those too. For the guaranteed lowest price, nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Town Fair Tire.
Next Day Molding Doors and Stairs have arrived on the Cape, now open in Hyannis, right at Barnstable Road and Charles Street. Get top quality, energy efficient Geldwin interior and exterior doors and experience the largest in-stock selection of moldings, boards, and stair parts in New England. Go to nextdaymolding.com or one of their 5 stores in Hyannis, Braintree, Woburn, Sharon, and Shrewsbury. Next Day Molding, Boston's, and now the Cape's source for Geldwin doors.
And now, breaking news. You leaving me. Your state-of-the-art 65-inch 4K smart television. For going out with friends and not staying in to watch TV. Sources confirm that is a terrible decision. Picture-in-picture mode. Do your friends have that? Can they simultaneously stream live sports and extreme baking shows? How about I make everything sepia? Whatever you want, I'll do it. Just don't put me on standby.
Don't listen to your TV. Head out with your friends and grab some ice-cold Heinekens. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
Nelson's right. Those older boiler systems need extra care. At Super Service today, we have the knowledge and skills to handle any heating challenge. Visit Super Service today.
Don't you hate interruptions?
The swing of the leg, a kick airborne to the uprights, and the kick is good. So Borregales has his first NFL field goal, and the Patriots have their first lead of the season under new head coach Mike Vrabel.
All right, back here on the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show, Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. And once again this season, as part of their Apex Cares program, Apex Entertainment will be donating $100 to support autism education and research at the New England Center for Children for every converted field goal. For more information, go to apexentertainment.com. Obviously, there was one missed field goal today, and when you're the Patriots, Joe, and you're dealing with a lack of everything, those types of mistakes, especially after a delay of game penalty, come back to bite you, and it certainly did in this one for Patriots fans.
Yeah, I actually thought the kicking game was very good in the preseason, both ways. They got a good return today from Gibson.
Sure.
But Borregales' missed field goal really hurt. They actually had to waste a timeout on a 4th and 1 situation to see if they wanted to go for it or kick the field goal. They ended up kicking the field goal. I still believe in Borregales. Like, my only thing is, they keep going to the well. 3 out of the last 5 years, they've drafted a kicker. One of them's doing better in Arizona now. And today, their punter, when they really needed them, just couldn't come through. I thought Springer's been pretty good as far as being like a special teams coach. It let them down big time today. And, this is what one of the issues with the Patriots is although like their depth is an issue, I'm still going to sit here and tell you I don't think their roster's the reason why they lost today.
No.
I think that how many different receivers did Drake May throw to? You're right. I know the Pop Douglas number isn't great, but he did have a touchdown. Diggs was involved. Hunter Henry had made a couple of really nice catches.
Yeah.
Hooper had a nice little catch. Kayshawn Boutte, right, was really impactful today. Really, what it came down to was pressure situations, and maybe we do need to maybe temper our expectations, Mark, because the two most glaring players that I don't want to use the word turtled, but in a pressure situation today, Drake May and Will Campbell literally did not meet the moment. And when the coaches had to make decisions, they didn't believe in the quarterback today. And I think it all trickled down. And those are the two guys they're relying on, right? 3rd and 4th overall picks. It wasn't strong enough today.
Again, I don't feel like it's indicative of the total future of Drake May. But today, I thought he looked nervous. I thought he looked tentative. I thought he looked like he was trying to not lose. I thought he looked like he was trying to be too careful at times and had a million things running through his mind. That's the way it looked. Okay, I'm not saying he won't be much better next week. I thought he made some plays. I thought they found a little bit of a rhythm in that second quarter. They had the lead with the ball in the third quarter. And it wasn't all bad. You score there, you get to 17 points. All of a sudden, you're feeling pretty good. It's 17-7, and you're in a good spot. But overall, and clearly the coaching staff did not have the confidence in them down the stretch in the offense like they need to. 617-779-0985. Back to the phones. Brad is on the Cape. Hey, Brad.
Hey, guys, what's up? So I was at the game today. I was sitting in the end zone. So for at least 2 quarters, I could see kind of what Drake May was seeing. And agree, he had definitely a bad game. But I think the bigger issue is the receivers. I mean, it seemed like 75 to 80% of the pass plays, there was absolutely zero separation and nothing he could do. And I just think this could potentially be a repeat of the past 4 or 5 years with no explosive plays. So
it's a problem because if they do get a receiver that can get separation, Tyquan Thornton, he can't catch the ball or something bad, how he can't find the ball, whatever. Then you get guys that maybe can catch the ball, but they can't get the separation. I was really surprised, Joe. I know I'm biased based on my take and my perception. I thought they would get Pop Douglas more involved. I'm thinking Josh McDaniels and the history and the slot receivers and all the guys that have had success. I just didn't see it. It's not like they weren't trying, but those plays they used to throw to Welker or to Edelman, I just didn't see Douglas running those types of routes today, and I thought that might have been a place where they could have had some success based on the matchup with a Raiders defense that's not elite.
Do you think they should have made Efton Chisholm active?
Yes. Yes. Anybody that can make a play, be active. Any offensive player.
Yeah, and as far as this preseason, who had the most separation? Him. So I thought that Drake may miss some open guys.
Yes.
I do. So I know it's easy to say, hey, I sat in the end zone and I saw that, they couldn't get separation. They also, you did make the point earlier, Drake May was locked in on some guys. Didn't really, went to the check down at times. He was locked in on one receiver, and when someone else was open, he did it in the preseason too.
I just didn't see these glaring opportunities or these examples of how he scanned the field and went from his first read to the third read and went through the progression and then completed the pass. I saw Geno Smith do it. I didn't see Drake May do it. Ernie is in Dorchester. Hey, Ernie. Ernie's not there. Chris is heading to the Cape. Hey, Chris.
Hello.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
What's up?
I'm very disappointed in your take on Drake May. I think he showed a lot of heart when he threw that pass. It got blocked, and he put his head down and he ran it.
Okay.
I think he doesn't have that support behind him right now, but I think he showed that heart that he needs. And, Will Campbell getting those die and fight offside calls is not what they need.
Look, I know Chris has called before. He's not a Will Campbell guy. But he has a good point. I mean, like you said, Joe, they needed Will Campbell at the end of the game. He did recover the fumble that I think he was responsible sort of for that strip sack. I'm not going to bury Will Campbell today. I thought he was good for a big part of the game. But again, it's the NFL, and when you need to make a play, again, they didn't make the plays. That's the story. It wasn't as much about the players. It was about the execution, and they could not execute as much as the Raiders did.
Agree. The Will Campbell stuff, though, everyone's going to keep telling me, hey, Joe, I don't agree with you with the Josh McDaniels stuff. I've been doing this a long time. And when it comes to the offensive coordinators, I think Drake May's not ready for all of that intel at once. And I think he's proving it to us. So that's my take today.
Could that be better for the long run?
Yeah,
though?
I would throw a few things in every week. Hey, this week you do this. Again, I thought the Pop Douglas play on the red zone, great.
Yeah.
Solid, awesome. He even had a check down in a preseason game where I went, that's a good play. Drake May has the ability. Today, he was overmatched and outplayed.
I just thought he looked nervous. I felt like it took him to it. And then once he finally did sort of get into a rhythm and feel a little bit better about what was going on, it looked like the Raiders made some adjustments, and that threw him completely off. And they couldn't. The Patriots coaches couldn't adjust. May couldn't adjust, and the offense went into the tank. He finally got a little rhythm. They were feeling like they had things on track. Raiders make an adjustment, and he was lost. And they couldn't recover, and he wasn't mentally in a place to be able to figure it out, and he couldn't get to where he needed to go, and the offense suffered. Awful second-half performance. We're going to go to break, but first, Joe Murray's got your headlines, and then we'll be back on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Let's get an ID first. We pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's for Sports. WBCFM at HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Patriots lose the home opener today, 20-13 to the Raiders. Drake May, 30 of 46 on the day, threw for 287 yards, threw a touchdown pass to Pop Douglas, had one interception. He was sacked 4 times in the game. Kayshon Boutte, 6 receptions for 100 yards. On defense, good day for Harold Landry. He had 2.5 sacks in this one. Kalivion Chason also with a half a sack in the game. The team had 4 overall. Well, they lose 20-13 today. They're on the road next week when they take on the Miami Dolphins, who got blown out by the Colts 33-8. Some other NFL scores. It was the Jaguars 26-10 over the Panthers. Buccaneers with a 23-20 win over the Falcons. Bengals 17, Browns 16. The Cardinals got a 20-13 win over the Saints. It was the Steelers in a wild one. They scored 17 fourth-quarter points to win 34-32 over the Jets. Washington, they got a 21-6 win over the Giants. Right now, third quarter, Titans with a 12-10 lead over Denver. Bo Nix, a touchdown and 2 interceptions in that one. Seahawks have a 10-7 lead over the 49ers at the end of the third quarter. Packers, they have a 17-6 lead right now over the Lions, and it's the Texans 9, Rams 7. Sunday Night Football features the Bills hosting the Ravens. And on Monday Night Football, the Bears will host the Vikings. Red Sox in action right now.
Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy nights. But when you feel like the only kid in town without a Christmas tree, here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me.
All right, music of the game is brought to you by Live Nation. This fall, The Sandman returns. Adam Sandler, You're My Best Friend tour, September 30th at TD Garden. Get tickets now at livenation.com as we return here on the Shaws and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Mark Dondero and Joe Murray, and we'll go back to the calls. Connor wants to talk about the secondary. Hey, Connor.
How you boys doing today?
Good.
After this game, I'm not doing so great, but dude, we got to be honest about Drake and this entire team. We had to take a major step back. It did not look better after the preseason and after today. Not great. I've gotten some huge debates with the state of Drake right now, and the accuracy is still not there. Decision making hasn't been great. I thought there was a lot of times where, like, especially running the ball, he should have been a little bit more aggressive. You got to find that, like, area being not too aggressive and, being aggressive.
Did you overall, Joe, feel like this is a bad thing, big picture-wise, for Drake May?
No, I didn't. I think he needs more time. He needs more reps. He needs to make easier decisions and put. I think he has too much on his plate. I'll pull that aside. He just needs to start making some pretty simple throws. And to your point, I do think maybe he needs to read his progressions a little bit better.
I would just like to see that. I mean, I was on a show with Alex Barth last week, and he was bringing up how a lot of these quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks, the second half of their second year is really when you begin to see it. But again, none of the quarterbacks that you want Drake May to be were under 500 in their second year. They were all over 500 in their second season. Okay, you're talking about the best of the best. They were all over 500. So I'm just telling you what the facts say. If you wanted to be one of those guys, or if you wanted to be middle of the pack, because some of those middle of the pack guys were 8-8, 8-7, or whatever it was back then, and middle of the road.
Well, here's the deal: do we need to have 4 more games to get into that? He's 3-10 as a starter in his career, so he started 13 games. So another 4 would be all right. So in the past, it would have been 16 games, right? So are these next 3 or 4 games his first season, and then you start to see the changes? Like, is that what it is?
I think this is his second season.
No, I get you.
He's been the quarterback. He's been the starter. This is his second year.
But you want to bring up facts. The fact is he's 3-10 as a starter. He's 3-10. Like, he has lost games. He's really won 1 game in his career, if you really think about it. He's won 1 game.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's been way too much put on him. So I'm going to keep saying it. I get it. He's the 3rd overall pick. High expectations. The pick they had today, literally choked down the stretch. These high draft picks that they're depending on too early aren't working out. It's going to take time. There's a first-year coach. There's a third-year retread offensive coordinator. There's a first-time defensive coordinator. Their roster got turned over by 50%. Like, these things, they're not going to just change overnight. Could they have won this game today? Absolutely. Was it on the back and the arm of Drake May? Absolutely. Did they completely fall apart in the second half? Yes. I blame it on Drake May. I blame play calling, and I blame the coaching. And the fact that they're not, like, ready at this point, we shouldn't be surprised by this.
I'm surprised. They should be further along than what we saw today. I'm surprised. And it didn't look like they were that far away in the first half. I don't like how they ended the game. They looked totally they didn't get it done. They didn't win the game. They looked lost, Joe, at the end of that game. Lost. Amateur. That's what it looked like at the end of the game. They couldn't figure anything out. They couldn't make a play. They couldn't make a pass. I mean, it was just nothing.
Did the offensive coordinator, what did he do?
I didn't feel his presence today.
So let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about it. Josh McDaniels, right, used to throw the kitchen sink. He'd have a reverse pass or some sort of reverse to kind of change things. And by the way, the Raiders, I'm telling you this right now, maybe I got to go watch the tape. I don't know.
Watch the tape.
Did they do anything outside of a cover 3 defense today?
Did they
blitz?
Did
they do anything differently?
Blitzing in the second half.
But why didn't he identify that at the line?
Adjust. That's what I'm saying. They couldn't adjust. The second the Raiders defense made an adjustment, the Patriots were lost, and Drake May was lost.
So this is why I want to bring up Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels has been out of the league for a long time, for a year. Nobody wanted him. They brought him back, right? They brought him back. He didn't adjust. He got out-coached. Chip Kelly, who just won a national championship and hasn't been in the league in years, made better plays with their quarterback. As much as I am not defending Drake May, I'm not protecting Drake May. And I think he'll be better than what we saw today.
Sure.
And I do think it's going to take time. But to sit here and think that Josh McDaniels is the guy that's going to change things here, Drake May is going to be the guy to change things here, not Josh McDaniels.
Agreed 100%. But we keep talking about the coaching. The quarterback, like you said, that is where it begins and ends. And the fact that Josh McDaniels is here was supposed to stabilize things. I was supposed to feel his presence, and I didn't. And they should be further along than being completely lost in the second half of a home game against the Raiders. A defense that is not even near the top of the league. They should have been better than that, Joe. They had time. Yeah. He was the starter. They've had guys in place. They had all of preseason trade. They should have been better than what we saw, and they weren't. And that's disappointing, and it's surprising. I thought they were going to be better than that. And I thought, okay, the jitters, but you figure it out. And Drake May, I mean, these top quarterbacks figure it out.
So one more thing I'll add. Mike Vrabel had to be the guy, right? I was an offensive-minded coach guy to take over this team. That's what I wanted. I wanted a guy to come in here that knew offenses and reinvent stuff. They're running the same old offense. Like, I think Pete Carroll knows the defense. Like, I think he knew what the Patriots were running today. And I think you brought up a great point about Travion Henderson. Chip Kelly knows what he can do.
Yeah.
They shut him down.
Yeah, they were ready for him. Every screen pass, there was a guy standing in his pocket. They were ready. And they looked more prepared overall. Let's go to Jason in the car. Hey, Jason.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I want to reiterate some of the points you guys made. I think it was a coaching issue. That the offense, we've seen that offense for years with McDaniels. He's not patient enough with the running game early and often. And then he gets into a trap where you have to keep throwing the football. When you have Tom Brady, you could do that. But, Drake May, I don't want to crap on him. I think he's going to be a great game manager.
No, see, I don't want to hear about a game manager because they need him to be more than that. Okay? If we have a game manager on our hands, forget it. Get rid of him. Dump him. I mean, obviously you can't make that call now, but game managers don't win the Super Bowl now in the NFL. So if you have a game manager, you have a sucky quarterback, and they can't have that, okay? So I'm not saying that. I don't think it's, again, indicative of his future failures necessarily, but I thought they were going to be a little bit more further along today, and I thought they'd be able to execute some of the plays a little bit better. Nick is in the car. Hey, Nick.
Hey, fellas. Thanks for taking the call. How many more times does Jake need to be told to not take massive hits when he's running around when it's not necessary to? That one play that he threw the ball and it got deflected back to him, I think someone was calling about it a couple callers ago, and you said he had heart. I kind of puked in my mouth a little bit because it's not heart. It's just being a bonehead. He was 5 yards away from the first down marker. Last year, he took a massive hit. And he was out for the rest of the game.
I don't have a problem with that one. Thanks for the call. I don't have a problem with that specific play because if I remember right, that was a third down play. Was that a third down play? We'll have to look that up. And he was trying to get the first down. So, yes, I thought overall he was timid running today. He didn't want to get hit. I think he was thinking about that a little too much. And I think that was a third down. He was trying. You were behind probably at that point. You were trying to make a play. I don't have a – sometimes you got to take the hit and absorb the contact.
The ball was tipped at the line. He caught it himself and ran it for a first down.
He didn't get the first down.
He didn't get it, yeah.
But it was a third down, wasn't it?
But he was trying to get – yeah, that's why he took the hit.
That's why he took the hit. So I don't have a problem with that one. I think they're going to probably become more conservative next week and go back to the Mac Jones, ground and running and trying to play a game that's, a little safer because they don't trust the offense. And then we'll start over.
Yep. Hey, all I'll say is this. The reason why I'm on Josh McDaniels is because people are going to keep bringing up Mac Jones. He was able to have Mac Jones throw turnover. There was not a lot of turnover-worthy plays. I think today there were. He only had the one real turnover in general, but I do think they're going to have to take some things off his plate. And who knows? I think Miami's going to come back. Again, recency bias is real. I got to go look at what the betting line is. Miami owns the Patriots. Tua Tagovailoa owns the Patriots. You're right. I think they're going to simplify it next week.
When we get back, more of your phone calls. I'd like your take on Kayshon Boutte, one of the bright spots in the game today. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray on the Shaz and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy.
Ball on the left hash. May ducks under his center. He's got Hooper, the tight end, to the right. In motion to the right as well. Wide side of the field is Pop Douglas. Drake May drops back off a play fake. Stands in, fires down the middle, and it's caught by a wide-open receiver. Keyshawn Booty again, his fourth catch of the day. Another first down for New England at the 44-yard line.
Stud. Dig route. About 14 and in. And he gets down on his knees. Drake throws it low. Right in front of the safety in the corner. Good looking.
All right, back here on the Shaw's Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. Patriots lose to the Raiders 20-13. A disappointing second half. Keyshawn Booty a positive in this game. And if he can emerge as a legitimate playmaker, he got banged up, came back in, 6 receptions, 103 yards. Longest catch of the day, 24 yards. He looked the part today, Joey. That was a good sign from me. From what we saw from the offense, that was as good as it got.
Keyshawn Booty looked bigger to me today.
You look bigger?
Bigger meaning like a target.
Okay.
Size, strength, definitely took a big hit on his first catch. Just remember about Keyshawn Booty. I know he was a 6th-round pick, but as a recruit at LSU, he was a higher recruit than Chase and Jefferson and those guys. So I think he's a guy that Drake May has worked with. They're very fluid, I would say, the two of them. The other guy's Hunter Henry when it comes to those two, but I don't know, man. I'm curious if he is the guy maybe that, I don't know if he's opened up because Douglas was double teamed or maybe, Stephon Diggs. But this is now becoming like 100 catches for him. He's had some really big plays down the sideline today, something we didn't see, by the way. We only saw stuff over the middle of the field. But I'm really, it's one game, and I know it's a continuation of last year. I think Keyshawn Booty might be Drake May's, besides Hunter Henry, might be his best receiving target for him.
Let's keep it going. Let's see what he can do, especially going into a game where they're going to need the production offensively after that second half. Back to the calls. If you could be brief, and we'll get to the point. We'll keep moving on because we got some calls we want to rip through. Ralph in Cranston. Hey, Ralph.
Hey, Mark, just like you said, we expected more, of course, out of May. And, the point was made, it's his 13th game or whatever. But, I remember 2 quarterbacks, they were in the same position in my day. I remember little kid, Jim Plunkett, and then we remember Bledsoe. They both came bad teams. But like you were saying, Mark, their second year they came out and they had the fans all behind them because they showed, yes, these guys are the real deal. May's been hyped like crazy, and that's cool. He's the top pick, and we need this savior. But, he hasn't shown it yet that he can be this guy.
And he hasn't. And that's the thing that's the thing, Joe. Forget about the stats. I haven't felt it yet with Drake May. You know what I mean? Just that when you watch him, you're not feeling like something good's going to happen. This team is about to get it done because May's got the ball in his hands. I haven't felt it yet. And that's kind of what makes me, how long does it take until we feel it? Jeff is at work. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys, you changed my topic, but I agree with what you guys are saying. Is he in a panic attack and he's only going to Henry or Butte or ignoring all the other receivers? You know what I mean? Like the weapons or the so-called weapons.
I mean, I didn't think he was ignoring it. Did you think he was ignoring guys, Joe?
I think the play was coming in, and he knew who the target was on the play, and locked into that guy and didn't go through any progressions.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not as comfortable as you need to be, I think that's what happens. You're just not good enough, and you can't figure it out quick enough, pre-snap, post-snap, all of the above, so you just get locked in, you try to make a positive play or not screw something up, and you don't have time mentally to get to the third or fourth progression because it's all happening so fast. The game looked fast to him.
Yeah. I got one more.
Yeah.
I just saw this next-gen stats posted. The Raiders only played one man coverage rep in the entire game.
So
on 53 dropbacks. It was all cover 3 and cover 2 zones. So Drake May can throw on man, but struggles against zone. Is that what we're learning?
Well, I mean, that's not a good sign to me because
I know.
You'd like for Drake May to be able to read some of those and have the cohesion with the receiver to be able to find the open soft spots and make completions.
And again, I'm going to bring it back to Josh McDaniels, who needs to be better. if he's calling in plays and Drake May is just literally eyeing the guy that the play is called for, that's not good. And I think it's the two of them together not on the same page.
Bill is in Newton on Carlton Davis. Hey, Bill.
Hey, guys. And the other thing is,
yeah, huh?
We lost Bill. George is in Malden. Hey, George.
Hi. We had a great pass rush in the first half, and we didn't have any in the second half. Plus, in the first game of the season last year, we ran all over Cincinnati Bengals. How many yards did we gain against Cincinnati Bengals in the run game last year?
See, but that game last year was what I don't want their offense to be. Nice win there. Okay, but obviously Cincinnati in week one's not the team that they've been with Joe Burrow by and large. But I don't want to live in that world. It would have felt good in the moment to get one of those rock fight wins. But I want them to be more dynamic. They just didn't execute today. Okay, and the defense, look, they made some plays. They blitzed well. There was some good, but they had too many big chunk plays they gave up. So I'm not going to sit here and laud the defense because of the way they played. There were too many bad plays that they gave up.
Do you think they blitzed too much in the game?
Probably.
Me too.
I mean, you could do that every so often, but when you rely on that and that's what you have to do to get the pressure, eventually you're going to get burned. They're going to make an adjustment. And the Patriots were really behind the eight ball when it came to adjustments. I thought the Raiders dominated the adjustment category. Dennis is in Hyde Park. Hey, Dennis.
Okay, and the defense, look, they made some plays. They blitzed well. There was some good.
I don't know what Dennis was. He was listening to something else. Nico in Burlington. Hey, Nico.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking the call. Mark, you're a stud, buddy. Love listening. And Joe, you're not too bad either, buddy. But listen, it just didn't seem like Drake was on. He just didn't seem like he was with it today. I mean, it just seemed like he was very confused. He was jittery. And, I know he wasn't in the game, but, what's up with Efton Chisholm, man? You know what I mean? I wanted to see him in there running those crosser routes and those quick outs. I think he needs to be involved.
I was just surprised by some of the plays. I just didn't see Wes Welker is what kept coming to mind. Why wasn't Pop running some of those Welker routes in the middle, the quick slants, those quick hitters, the things that you get the ball? And Drake made a couple of passes batted down today too that got annoying to me. 6'5", get the pass out. Stop having the pass batted down.
They got bailed out on a throw to Mac Hollins on a pass interference.
That was not a pass interference.
No, that was soft as hell.
Yeah. It was an awful call. Let's go to Robin in Fort Lauderdale. Hey, Robin.
Hey, guys. Okay, here's my take. Josh McDaniels, fine. Alex Van Pelt, the hell with these people. Why are we catering to average? Drake is the special person. He was picked third overall. Drake is a special one. Why are we catering? Drake, you're going to learn my offense. Alex Van Pelt, Josh McDaniels. No, you cater an offense right now, right here, to Drake May.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say about that, Joe. And I know people don't want to hear this, but I don't think... Do you need the continuity and the great coaching to become the best in the business, to get over the hump, to win the Super Bowl? Yes. Okay, but I don't think it's all about the coaching, even if it's terrible. If the quarterback is good enough, the team should be good to a playoff spot, a winning record. If the quarterback's elite, the team should still be able to win games and have a winning record. They're not going to win the Super Bowl if the coaching is garbage, but they could still win some games. They could be above 500 and be average at worst. That's if the quarterback is elite. We're not seeing Drake May, with whatever coaching he has, get this team to another level. We haven't seen it yet, and I'm just wondering when we're going to see it. That's my question.
I kind of agree with that caller, but I'll say this. Today, I think they could have won with everything that they had out there today. Whether it was the roster, the play calling, they certainly could have been in this. Just real quick, Mark, we just wanted to pass along our deepest sympathies to the family of Alan Thomas. Alan was a lifelong Pats fan, beloved member of the Holbrook, Quincy community. We send our condolences here at the Patriots, from Patriots Radio, to his children, Dave, Catherine, Dan, Matt, Caitlin, James, Michael, and his wife, Janan. So just wanted to send our condolences to a lifelong Patriots fan.
Well, thanks for that, Joe, and our condolences to the family. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do that, Joe's got your headlines, and then we'll be back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Back here on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show, Mark Dondero, Joe Murray. We're going to go around the NFL. But let me just say this, Joe. I know we were just discussing it. It was just disappointing from a quarterback perspective. You get the second-year quarterback in Drake May playing at home, all the reps, all the resources, new coaches, and he gets severely outplayed by Geno Smith. Severely outplayed. Not a little bit, not tough loss. Severely outplayed by the veteran Geno Smith, the journeyman Geno Smith on the road. That was disappointing, and I thought they'd be better and closer than they were today. Let's go around the NFL. Buccaneers-Falcons today in Atlanta.
The snap a good one. The spot is down. The kick is airborne and good. He missed it wide to the right. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will prevail in Atlanta.
Remember,
2 seconds remain.
Earlier in the game, you remember he hit the upright and it went in.
One kneel down and we go home happy.
Okay, so that was Young Ho Koo.
Fire the cannons.
Missing the 44-yard field goal that would have tied the game at the buzzer. And they could, a lot of people high on the Falcons, but the Buccaneers come in and sort of reassert themselves.
Mayfield was horrible today, even though he threw 3 touchdowns. Only threw 167 yards. Since we're comparing Drake May, Michael Penix threw for almost 300 yards, 290 yards, and a touchdown, was only sacked once.
I was one of those people that sort of bought in on the Falcons, and I'm not going to say the Buccaneers are a good team. Baker Mayfield's been very good for them. Tough game for the Falcons to lose at home, though, to a division opponent. So that's a tough loss for the Falcons, especially with the way that transpired at the end. Bengals and Browns, what do you know? The Bengals struggling on week 1.
No Browns huddle. Go no huddle. Yep, 2-minute drill, no huddle.
They have it at their own 43-yard line. Flacco looking to throw. His pass. It is intercepted. It went off the fingertips of Tillman. DJ Turner comes up with a football. Amazing. And that is coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about Turner? Man.
The triple bam is never what you want to hear. But despite the Bengals' struggles, they find a way against the Browns 17-16. What is with these week 1 woes for Cincinnati, Joey?
And the other thing is they played their entire team in the preseason this year to be ready for week 1. I would say, if anything, their offense stumbled in the second half. But for a team that really didn't put much money into their defense this year, defense really held up, giving up 6 second-half points that kept them in the game. So I think the Bengals winning today will kind of get them gets that off their back, and now we'll go on a nice little run.
Jamar Chase, 2 receptions, 26 yards, no touchdowns. A surprise going up against a Browns team that you would have thought they would have had a little bit more success through the air. Dolphins, Patriots opponent next week. Well, they're going to be looking for a bounce back.
15th play of the possession. Jones under center. Ball on the right hash. 3 receivers go left. Jones, quarterback keeper again. This time he slides in. Touchdown on a quarterback keeper by Daniel Jones. Touchdown. INDY. 2 rushing scores today by Danny Dimes.
So that was obviously the Dolphins. It was a no-show today.
Yeah, I will say this. Daniel Jones today, I saw this one. I couldn't believe it. Scored on every possession against the Miami Dolphins defense. He's the first quarterback to ever score on every possession since 1991. The guy that the Giants let go, that the Rams, I think, let go next, right? Or that was the Vikings. I can't remember who it was at the end.
This game was more about the Dolphins and what they got going on.
All about the Dolphins and how they quit. And dude, we can get into it on the other side, but Mike Vrabel talked about gut check time for the Patriots. It is gut check time for the Dolphins.
It'll be interesting to see with the Dolphins facing what they're going to be facing and going up against a team that, A, looked bad in week 1 at home, and then B, a team they've dominated. There's going to be a lot of pressure on both sides next week, and that's going to be fun. Cardinals and Saints today, a battle of teams that something might be going in different directions.
4 seconds left, final play of the game, 4th down, ball on the 18 of the Cardinals. Rattler back to pass, looking, throws left side, and it's thrown out of bounds, incomplete, and the game is over. The Cardinals win week 1 in New Orleans, 20-13.
This is what I was hoping the Patriots game would look like, Joe. The Patriots finding a way at home. I know the Cardinals were on the road. Finding a way at home to outlast a team that they should beat. Cardinals did it, Patriots couldn't.
Yeah, only thing I can say about this is Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. spent a lot of time together this offseason, like literally lived together. 5 for 71 today for Marvin Harrison and a touchdown. So those two do need to connect. Good win, but I think New Orleans is probably going to be the worst team in the league.
The only good news for the Patriots, or one of the few areas of good news for the Patriots, the rest of the division lost. And the Bills play the Ravens tonight, and they could lose. The Jets, one of those teams, as they fell to the Steelers.
Ball at the 37-yard line. 25 seconds remain here for the Jets. Fields gets a snap. Back to pass. Looking. Steps up in the pocket. Has some room. Throws to his left. And the ball is dislodged. Jalen Ramsey wallops Garrett Wilson. It is incomplete. And Ramsey makes the play that seals a victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Woo-hoo! Somebody get the license plate of that train. It was a J train coming straight down the tracks.
The big question in this game, Joe, and the talking point to me, did they unlock, and by they I mean the Steelers, did they unlock something with Aaron Rodgers? Is he going to dip his toe back into the fountain of youth and be more like the quarterback we remember, making the Steelers a threat?
Yeah, they don't win this game today without him. 17 fourth-quarter points for them. DK Metcalf, 4 catches, 83 yards. The other thing I'll say about the Jets, Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns, but threw a 33-yard touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. So, the Jets scoring 32 points, that's a different Jets team. They just can't give up 34 and win games.
Very disappointing considering their new head coach was a decorated defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, who are now in a big hole in Green Bay.
Anzalone showing blitz off the left edge. Here's the snap to Love. Throws right side of the end zone. Touchdown! Jaden Reed, right corner of the end zone. They beat Terrion Arnold again. And a Lambeau leap to the north end zone stands for Jaden Reed. It's 16-3 Green Bay.
So the Packers currently up 24-6 on the Lions, coming off of the big trade for arguably the best defensive player in the league. And now the question for the Lions, are they really going to be a different team after losing both their coordinators from last year?
Yep. Jared Goff, horrible today. Efficient, 21-25, 152 yards, threw an interception, sacked twice. Nothing from their running game in Gibbs and Montgomery. That was been their literally what their calling card has been. But shout out to Green Bay. They make the trade for Micah Parsons. And I want to see what Parsons did today. I don't see, because I know that he was questionable if he was going to be there. I'm just kind of looking at their defense right now on what he did today. But anyways, his addition, I think, has sparked the team, no doubt.
Other games currently, the Broncos up 13-12. They're in the fourth quarter in Denver on the Titans. A little closer than I thought that one would be. The Rams up 14-9 on the Texans, and they're in the fourth in the game tonight, the big one, 8:20 NBC. Bills hosting the Ravens. That should be a fun one. A huge thank you to all of the radio partners, radio networks that allowed us to use that audio. The Buccaneers Radio Network, Cincinnati's ESPN 1530, and the Bengals Radio Network, The Fan, and 97.1 Hank FM in Indianapolis, the Arizona Cardinals Radio Network, 102.5 WDVE, and the Steelers Audio Network, and the Packers Radio Network. Big thanks to them.
Fire the cannons.
That's right. Okay. When we get back, we'll wrap it up. We'll look ahead to the Dolphins matchup for the Patriots on the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5 The Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.
effort to get in the end zone.
All right, welcome back to the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots Postgame Show. Mark Dondero, Joe Murray here. Let's get one more call in. Dennis in Hyde Park. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? Dennis Mike Park here. How are you?
How are you?
Hello?
How are you?
Hey.
And he's great value added.
Great
there.
town. Hyde
All right,
Park,
it's a
where
good
I'm from.
spot. Yeah, we used to play hockey there. Okay. What do you think next week, Joe? What has to happen? What do they do? What adjustments do they try to make to get a win in Miami, something they have had absolutely no success doing?
Well, I will just like to say that the comments from our listeners today want to tell us that us blaming Drake May or Drake May's ability to make connections today, we said is the reason why they probably lost. People want to tell us we don't know football. So I just want to say, okay, so if it wasn't Drake May, what was it today? So
No, it's wrong. They're wrong.
I think the coaching down the stretch didn't believe in their team and punted and conceded. I also think that they didn't believe in Drake May. And what do they need to be better? Next week against Miami, I mean, if we look at, can we even take anything away from Miami's loss today?
Yeah. They're on the precipice of absolutely unraveling and the coach being fired.
What I mean by that, though, is like,
schematically,
Devon Achane's their best runner. Like, are they going to have to try to stop him?
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa threw 2 interceptions and Zach Wilson came over. Like, there's still Tyreek Hill. There's still Jalen Waddle. Like, there's still some speed on that field. So, I if they're picking on their defense, I think they can attack their defense next week. But the one takeaway I wanted to bring up was if you watched a lot of the games this week, especially Thursday and Friday night, Jalen Hurts ran the ball and was an impact. Patrick Mahomes ran the ball and made an impact. I think taking away Drake May's ability to run is handcuffing him a little bit. And today there were times where he didn't know whether to hang on to the ball or run, and then he got confused, and then he slid too early, or didn't throw to the sticks, or just something. Let the man be talented. Let him. And again, this is why I go back to the McDaniel stuff. They're running his offense. I think they need to let Drake May be Drake May.
And I think they're going to. And that's why I don't think it was indicative of his future performances to say, we're screwed. You need to be really worried about the prospect of Drake May becoming the franchise and all those things. I think they're going to figure out. Now, again, it wasn't a good start. It's on the wrong side, the bad category. But they probably will be able to find a way to simplify it enough so he can do what you just said, Joe. Be Drake May. Be a quarterback. Be the athlete we know he is. You said something to me I thought was interesting off the air. Do you remember what you said? I want you to say that on the air about how they look today overall. I thought it was interesting.
Overall, the Patriots looked like a football team. Their big plays were really good. Their bad plays were the same as last year.
And I think that is the one thing you can kind of take away as a positive. They did look, their higher end plays did look more higher end and look more like what the NFL team you want to root for should look like offensively and defensively too. The problem is their bad plays were still really, really bad. Okay, but before, they couldn't even get to that level of execution at all. Now it's about, can you get to that level of execution more consistently? They couldn't do it at all. Now they're at least getting there, and we'll see what happens. My biggest thing about what to see in Miami, or what we're going to see in Miami, what do they decide to do? Do they try to be more conservative and go back to more of a ground and pound and run the ball and stay safe and play a game in the teens or the early 20s and do that? Or are they going to try to be what they were today and try to throw it and stick with the plan and try to get more dynamic and open it up and find Pop Douglas and find some of the receivers? Like Mac Hollins did nothing today. I thought he'd have a little bit more of an impact. Are they going to try to continue to do that, or is their style going to change? Because in the second quarter, I liked what I was seeing. They were trying to open it up. They were throwing the ball. They weren't afraid to give it to Drake May. Will they next week be afraid to give it to Drake May?
I hope not. And I'll tell you this. If it does turn into some sort of back and forth with Tua, there's a lot on the line. I'll say this. If the Dolphins lose to the Patriots next week, I think there's a real chance Mike McDaniel could be fired a couple of games into the season. Now, I don't know if they do it week 2. I don't know. They were embarrassed today.
Embarrassed. That was embarrassing.
And in a way, the Patriots had an embarrassing finish. And who has more on the line? To me, it's the Dolphins.
And then, coming off of the game we saw Pittsburgh play with Aaron Rodgers, you're looking at the Steelers then coming in. If you lose that game in Miami, you're looking at a Steelers team that might be hot by the time they get to you. I don't know.
The schedule that everybody said was so easy this year. Oh, yeah.
And the Steelers next week, they have the Seahawks in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So based on how they played today, who knows? It's the NFL. They're favored in that game, I would think. 0-3 isn't where you want to be. Now, Carolina didn't look great. We're going way down the line here. But you need to make an adjustment. And I'll tell you this, Joe. It's not going to be popular probably. I don't care. I hope they do the same thing offensively they did today, but execute. Find a way to don't go back to ground and pound and being safe and putting the kid gloves on. Don't do it. Make him execute the plays that you need to execute to win NFL games and just be better. Find a way to be better.
I think that should be their at least their game plan was open it up, try to get out to a lead. When you have the lead, it's going to be hot in Miami. Then you start to run the ball and wear them out.
And you can still make safe calls. But again, do it in a way that isn't so much about just running and high school plays. Use some of those. You got a lot of guys that are good within the slot there. Between Diggs and Douglas, get them more involved. Be more creative with Travion Henderson. Find ways to get him the ball. They didn't do it enough. They certainly didn't go to Diggs enough with enough efficiency, and that's what I want to see. I don't want them to take a step back and be more conservative because of what happened in week 1.
I'm going to look this up. I'll have it on the award-winning Joe Murray show tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, on our flagship station, 98.5 The Sports, a cheap plug. But I will say this. You cannot win in the NFL scoring 13 points.
Correct.
And I can't remember the Patriots having games where they've scored more than 20, 22, 24 points. Like, they need to score in the 20s to win games. And I think they're capable of doing that with the roster and the coaching staff and quarterback that they have.
We need to see it happen. They need to make the plays. They didn't make the plays today, Joe, and that's what didn't happen. We have some people that did make plays, and we want to get them acknowledged right now. To our crew in Foxborough, producer Mark Capello, engineer Dennis Knudsen, Tyler Knudsen, and Mike Perry, and here in Waltham in our studio, intern Luke Arnpriester, studio technician Kevin Majori, and executive producer Jeremy Conley. These guys are the best, helping us get through the first week, which was a tough one for the New England Patriots as they fall 20-13 to the Las Vegas Raiders at home and drop their record to 0-1. Joe, good to be with you, man.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we get a better result.
We'll see what happens next week in Miami. That game for the Patriots, a 1 o'clock kickoff. And, again, they are winless in their career, or at least in Tua Tagovailoa's career. So we'll see. They're due to get a win in Miami. We'll see if it happens next week because they need to. This has been the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show. Shaw's and Star Market make shopping, ordering online, and saving easier than ever. Download the Shaw's Deals and Delivery app or the Star Market Deals and Delivery app today. Thanks for listening. This has been the Shaw's and Star Market Patriots postgame show on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports Hub Patriots Radio Network.